I'm Chris Osmond, and this is my take. Today I know I should be providing part 2 of common sense and complacency, but I have some other issues that have come up. One is that I attended the Occupy Miami movement that occurred yesterday, Saturday, which started out at the Torch of Freedom and ended up moving to the Government Center. And I think it was a lot more productive than the past instances of this movement. It seems a little more organized, but they still could use some work. I mean, they were basically going over procedural things for quite a long time. I think one of the things that they could do is maybe take pictures of the hand signals, put them up on their website, and have people print up those pictures for themselves, so that they'll be basically educated as far as how to react to the various speakers that get up and talk, and that won't have to they won't have to go through that again. The last 2 times I've gone, they've actually had to discuss these matters. But I think a lot of this procedural stuff could be avoided and streamlined and put basically in writing. Put on their website, and then the people that don't know these things can then download them and print them themselves. That way it's less costly. And of course they should be able to provide some printed copies for those who do not have access to the do not have access to a printer or the internet, for that matter. But I think nowadays most people do have access. They can even go to the library and print the copies for like 10 or 15 cents a page. So in that regard, I think Occupy Miami could move forward a lot quicker. This could include all the General Assembly stuff that they usually go over. But right now, what I would like to talk about are some of the issues that I think Occupy Miami and Occupy Wall Street might want to confront once they get to that point. Currently, I think the movement is too small to start making demands, and I think they're right to allow the movement to grow organically, and just, as people get more frustrated and disillusioned with what's going on in Washington, D.C. and what's going on with our financial centers, the movement will grow. And it has to be such that it doesn't look like it's out there for any particular group, because it's not. It's out there for everybody. As their slogan says, we are the 99%. Suggests they're trying to represent everybody except that 1% who seem to want to just hoard all the money and bring our economy to a staggering stall. Which is beyond me, because I don't understand where these wealthy people think they're going to end up moving to. In our day and age, no one is really anonymous that's out there, especially when they're trying to promote things that are hurting the other 99% of the people of this country. So I think that they might want to consider actually trying to work things out with the people who are out there now, who are trying to do it in a nonviolent manner and will continue to struggle in a nonviolent manner. It might behoove them to consider listening to the people who are trying to have their voices heard, as opposed to waiting until things get worse. Because once that happens, the people's anger builds to a frenzy, and there is no longer anywhere for them to go back to. All of these people, they think that they could hide behind their gated communities or hide within their buildings with security and everything. But eventually the people that are basically securing those buildings will come to realize that they are also represented by the 98% that aren't making enough money to put food on their table, pay their mortgages, and to meet their cost of living. Utility bills, everything. It just impacts every single aspect of everybody's life, what they're doing, and it will continue to do so and only worsen as time goes by. So some of the issues that I would like to see Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Miami address over the next coming weeks, months, however long it takes. One of them, of course, is regulation of Wall Street, which they're out there doing. I think that Wall Street has basically made it just such an unfair gamble to try to invest in anything. And I say gamble because the stock market is basically one big giant gamble. You can see it if you just go to any website that allows for, free trades, or any website that allows you to see how the stock market moves. And you can see it on the news even. I mean, they have these 500-point moves and 200-point negative, positive. It's a one big casino. Wall Street is one big giant casino, and it's rigged to allow the house to win. Whoever has the most money is going to win, because they're driving the prices up, and then once everybody else jumps in, they drive the prices down, and they take their money out, because they can benefit no matter which way the market swings, because they have enough money to make it swing the direction that they want it to go in. So definitely regulation on Wall Street should be one of the demands, or one of the issues that they tackle. And within that demand, computer trading, this definitely seems to be one way in which the wealthy have a great advantage, because they don't even have to trade. They just tell their programmers to basically create programs that follow the market and are triggered automatically. I mean, it actually happened where we had that super giant dip earlier this year or late last year, and the markets basically almost crashed, and they recovered in 1 second. I mean, it was just a big computer glitch, and it was just some software programmer just programmed the trading application incorrectly. So computer trades, they might want to consider taking them off the table altogether, and just making it so that it's more of a fair game out there for people to buy stocks, and try to eliminate speculation by putting more regulation on Wall Street. One other issue I would love to see them go after is the prosecution of those entities that knowingly promoted investments while betting and hedging against those very same investments. Basically, they told people to buy into these different types of investments, which were investments where they cobbled together all kinds of, some good ones, but a lot of crap investments, and they basically expected them to fail, and they hedged their bets against it while they were telling their clients to go ahead and buy this. And I'm not expecting the Justice Department to go after those instances where they don't know that this has occurred. I'm hoping, the best I can hope for is for them to go after those people that they know committed these basically legal crimes. In my eyes, we'll call them legal crimes, because they are under the laws that allow these things to happen. But basically, when you have one group of people basically ripping off another people and stealing their life savings, I don't know how you could call it anything other than a crime. I don't care if it's legal, it's unjust, and it's immoral. And those laws should be stricken and taken away and repealed, or whatever process needs to happen to get rid of them. This all goes back to the speculation, idea of speculation. People nowadays, a lot of them don't even buy stocks based on whether or not they believe in those companies. They buy them based on whether or not they believe those companies' price is going to soar or plummet or do whatever. And that's basically not a way to decide the future of your economy. I just don't think that we should be betting on crap companies if it's a crap company, just because the price is being driven up. That may be my own humble opinion, but I think it's a valid one, and I would love to hear someone dispute that fact. Another issue I would love to see being addressed is to somehow get all the privatization that's being pushed out there by all these lawmakers that seem to be coming up recently, especially in the GOP. Why do we want to privatize everything? There's basically ways in which you can determine why people would want to privatize certain things like prisons, schools, Social Security, Medicare, and other things. You have to look at who gets hurt by these actions and who benefits. In the case of prisons, it seems to me that since these private organizations are out there trying to develop prisons and build more prisons. They would want to have more inmates since they get paid by per body. And some of their stock is even trade based on how many people they have incarcerated. So if you've got a prison corporation that is out there hoping to have to incarcerate more people, then of course they're going to try to push legislation that makes more things illegal, and makes those things that are currently illegal, makes them so that they carry greater sentences. It's just that privatizing prison just incentivizes these corporations to want to push laws and lobby for laws that will incarcerate more people. The other benefit that these private corporations currently seem to be enjoying is in some states we have some of these GOP governors. I will go back to that party because that party is the one that is trying to enact these laws. But they have these governors that go to that are influenced by organizations like ALEC, which you can find more out about on alecexposed.org. That's ALEC exposed.org. I don't know that the prisons are really doing that. They probably have their own lobbyists that go out there and push for these laws, and I'm sure they donate money to campaigns of those legislators that are willing to promote these laws as well. But one thing that I've seen in Florida is that now teen sexting has become illegal. And, people want to say that, I've talked to different people, and some believe that we should be legislating morality. I, for one, don't think that that's the case. I don't think that that's right. I don't think that our society should be regulating morality or legislating morality. I think that, especially when you look at who is benefiting from it. When you have teen sexting, in Florida at least, the law gives them a warning in the first instance. It gives them a fine and something else on the second instance. But after the third instance, it becomes a felony, and it's punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Now, I don't think teens should be sexting, but that's just a personal opinion. But I don't think they should be criminalized for doing such either. And I definitely don't think they should be getting charged with felony and having that on their record. It just does not seem to be something that would help our society out. It actually seems like it would set things back, basically putting more young people in prison and influencing them in their formative years. But the ways that it helps these corporations is that they'll have more bodies to be put in prison. And like I was saying earlier, I alluded to earlier, but I think I forgot to say, was that in certain states like Wisconsin, they have enacted laws that allow these prison corporations to take their prisoners out into the field and have them do manual labor, manual tasks, such as landscaping and things of that nature. And all the while, you've got these same GOP governors, at least in Scott Walker's case, where he basically is trying to break up the unions and eliminating jobs that would have been done by public workers. $10 or $15 an hour jobs that would have been done by public workers is now going to prisoners who don't get paid anything or very little, and the people that are incarcerating them do profit from that. They not only get paid for incarcerating the people, but they get paid for the labor that these people are forced to do for little to nothing. And to me, that's called slavery. So in the case of prisons, privatizing them won't really help our society. It can only hurt our society. Social Security is another thing. They want to, Bush wanted to privatize Social Security, which doesn't make any sense, especially in light of the fact how much of a gamble the stock market is. So what exactly would these people that have these private funds for instead of Social Security, what investments would they be involved in? And think about if they had been involved in those investments in the year 2007 when our economy collapsed and our stock market cratered. All of those people would then be in big trouble, and there would be a big need for more money to come from the government. that wasn't going to the government in the first place. So you have a bunch of people that would have been putting in Social Security, not putting in Social Security, and they would be out there with listening to these financial advisors that are leading them into one direction and hedging their bets in another direction. And you would have a bunch of people that were broke, and you have a government that had no money to cover these people, the risk that these people took. Another thing that I would like to see Occupy Miami or Occupy Wall Street or any of the Occupy movements address is to try to figure out some way to support and build up the community. I'd like to see them address is that corporations stop hiring the homeless to basically evict other people who are soon to be homeless. If you go to Tavis Smiley's website, you can see that he basically has done a series of stories that deal with poverty in America. And one of the things that he addresses is the fact that in Washington, D.C., the banks that are foreclosing on people are actually hiring homeless people and paying $10 per home to evict other people so that those people are now homeless as well. So I'd like to see Occupy, the Occupy movement basically look for ways to support and help communities and to promote a sense of community amongst people, to try to give people their dignity back and to try to make them feel like they have a place in this world as opposed to being outcast or being considered parasites, as many of the wealthy and many of the politicians that we have elected feel that way right now. These are my last thing that I would love to see is that the Koch brothers get prosecuted for all of the illegal dumping, the polluting, and the basically murder of people the murders they've committed with their pollution. You can find it on YouTube. There are stories about the Koch brothers and the illegal things that they've done, and they basically have chosen a tactic of polluting until they get caught, at which point they pay fines or they work out some kind of deal with the government so that the fines that they pay basically don't amount to what they should be paying.